Getting sub-5 on 2x2 with the Ortega method is totally possible, but for most people it's hard and requires hours and hours of practice to achieve this level. Most people don't know how or what to practice and end up practicing things that won't help you get faster. So in this video, I cover 3 of the most important things to be practicing to get sub-5 easier. These skills that I talk about, such as AUF recognition, can aid you to beyond just sub-5, but these tips in general are very easy to learn and just require some practice. So the first tip that I'm going to talk about is recognizing AUFs during PBL. So for this case, one way to recognize PBL would be to look at the top color. So this color is red, and see which side it matches with. So because this is a solved block, we know that this side is orange and this side is red if the cube is solved. And so what we know is that in order to solve the cube, we need to do a U prime AUF, because then this bar lines up with this color and this bar is solved too. So let's check it out. So if we do the algorithm, then we know that we need to do a U prime before we can do solve the AUF. So here's an example of the exact same case. So if I look at the top color, that's orange. If I look at both sides, I know that we need to do a U for the AUF in order to solve the cube. So if we do the algorithm, then we need to do a U before we can solve the cube. So that's just one way to predict AUF, and that can come in handy because instead of having to look and then do the AUF, you know exactly what the AUF is going to be. So right after you finish the algorithm, you can do the AUF. So for this case, there's only a couple tricks that I know to recognize this case. So for this case, it's an adjacent swap on top and diagonal swap on bottom. So one trick that I use is if the color of the bar matches with this sticker over here. If this sticker that I'm matching it with is on the right, then I know that there's not going to be an AUF. So if we do the algorithm, as you can see, there's no AUF. But if the sticker is on the right, then I know I'm going to have a U2 AUF. So if I do the algorithm, as you can see, I have a U2 AUF, and yeah, so that's just an easy trick that I use to recognize. So same for this case, if I have diagonal swap on top and diagonal swap on bottom, if they make line up to make columns, then I know I'm going to not have an AUF at all. And if they line up to make checkerboard, then I'll have a U2 AUF, and that's just how I recognize. So the second tip that I'm going to talk about is recognizing your bar during first layer. So the reason why that's helpful is because you want to avoid rotations during PBL, because that just slows things down, and you don't want to like look around to see where your bar on the bottom is. So an easy way to avoid that is to figure out where your bar is during first layer. So in this case, where I have an L here and the last corner sticker is like this, I can solve that by doing 2 sexies. So I know that my bar is going to end up over here, because when this corner is solved, this sticker is going to be over here, because all we have to do is twist the corner like this. So the green sticker is going to end up over here. Then I know my bar is going to be over here. So that way I know that I can hold it like this, and then I won't have to do any rotations during PBL. So just to solve this like this, and then when I finish OLL, I end up with my bar over here and my bar over here. Then I can go straight into PBL without having to like rotate and find my last bar and my first bar. So here's another example. So if I have a white bar here and a white bar here, so I know that this corner, in order to when it's solved, I want to have this corner possibly over here, so that when the orange sticker is going to be facing this side. So one way I could tell is to look at my solution for this. So one way I would probably do this is to go like this. So one way to tell that I have a bar over here is to look at my solution. So if my solution is to insert this corner into here and insert this corner into here, that means that when this corner goes into here, this sticker will be over here, and that will be a bar. And because these two don't have a bar, that means in the back I won't have a bar, and over here I won't have a bar. So that'll just be an adjacent swap in the back. So if I solve this, I know that I have a bar here and nothing in the back. And if I solve OLL, then I can just, instead of just rotating around, I can just do a U2 flick, and then that bar comes over, and then I can do PBL. So this tip that I'm going to talk about here is having efficient first layers. So what you want to do is be able to solve your first layer in at least under 1 second if you want to be sub 5. So one way to do that is to have efficient and have solutions that are low in move count. So one way I can do this case, when I have a bar here and a center here and a center here, what I can do is essentially, if I go like this to move this corner down here, this corner is going to get stuck in here. In this case, isn't very efficient case. So what I want to do instead is move this corner over here like this, so that when I move this corner down like this, I get a 3-move insert, and you can do those really quickly. So yeah, that's just one case that you can do faster if you get that case. So this next case that I'm going to talk about here is when you have an L here and one corner over here. So I think I talked about this in my first side tutorial for Ortega. So what you basically want to do is move this center up here like this, then move this bar over here, and then move this down. So you can do that really quickly, and that just saves a lot of moves and also saves a lot of time, instead of just doing like something like that, which is really slow and really inefficient. So this is the last case. So when you have a bar here, one corner here, and one corner here, so this is going to be saving moves. So what you want to do is try to save more moves for your last layer, so then your move count can be lower and you can do it faster. So instead of moving this corner down here and then inserting this corner, what you could do instead is, when you're bringing this corner down, insert this corner in here, so like this. So you could do that really quickly, and that is probably less than 0.5 seconds. So that's a really quick first layer right there. So the faster you have your first layer, it's better for your solve, because your time will be lower, and because first layer is the intuitive side of 2x2, and the less intuitive you have, then the better. Alright guys, that'll be it for now. If you want to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing. If you want to see more tutorials, then or anything else that you want to just see in general, then comment down below. And yeah, so I'll see you all in the next one.